Right, boys, we're back together, all in the same room.
I have not. Well, when was the last time we did this? I haven't seen you guys in ages.
Well, Joe was off sunning himself in Spain for a little while, so me and Thee did one.
Yes.
Then you came back, then I went away to Greece, so yeah, finally all back together.
I know.
It's good. It's good to be back. It's good to be back.
Forgotten what you all look like.
On the pod, isn't it? So,
Yeah.
Yeah, very good indeed. Joe and I met at Simply Porsche on Sunday, our first Patreon subscriber, Mr. Toby Dyer. So we want to have a huge shout out, Toby. It's really nice to meet you, mate. 993 and 996 owner.
He is,
we'll
yeah.
Definitely get him
As
on.
he called it, a rattle box. He called it when he messaged me the other day.
Toby, we'd like to get you on so that you can explain to Andy why the 996 is, of course, superior in every way to the 993.
Well, he hasn't driven his 993 yet.
Is it broken already?
No, he took it somewhere to get some work done on it, and it's still there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. I must admit, I hadn't driven my car for a while until today. Just took it for a quick burn to keep the battery.
Has it still got a box of mice in the back?
It really has. And actually, I thought is, oh bloody hell, they're going to give me so much stick for that. I probably shouldn't have mentioned anything. So, yeah, no, it's all.
So,
good.
how was Simply Porsche?
It was cars in the field because of COVID.
Yeah.
There's nothing else that we can do. So to be totally fair to the event organisers,
I think it's the best they could do in the situation. I mean, I've been Simply Porsche the last few years, and rate it has been really good. It's always been lots going on and lots to see and do, and some great stuff. Traders and exhibitions and race cars, and it's quite like a cool vibe about it. I think unfortunately that wasn't really there at the weekend because it was, like you said, it was cars spaced a few meters apart in a field. So it was,
looked to be some good cars there, though, from what I saw.
Yeah, I think there was some good turnout. It just a little bit anemic as an event, I think. But like you said, that's the situation. But there were some good cars, I think.
Would have been nice to see some more air-cooled cars, but it was a sunny, dry day. They're out there, aren't they? We'd love to see them.
It's always been a bit of a water-cooled show, the Simply Porsche, I think. But didn't you drive something quite interesting too?
I had such a privilege to drive. Our friend Paul has got the ex-Magnus Walker 72 STR, which was great for me personally because it was on the cover of our 100th issue.
Yeah.
That's going back some now, 6-7 years. So just to see the car, obviously landing in the UK is special, and to drive it was spectacular, absolutely spectacular. Joe, you've driven it as well, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, he was Paul obviously very, very generous with his cars. He chucked me the keys the other morning when we were going for a little jaunt down to West Bay, as we do.
West Bay,
and
right.
he said, jump in. And he didn't have to ask me twice, put it that way. It was, it's a super cool thing. I mean, it's pretty gnarly. I think it's obviously the setup of it is, it's quite go-karty, would you say?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, the seats, I've sat in it, and the seats just pinch you, don't they?
That is the one thing that Joe and I both said. This seat has got to be sorted because it's so tight,
so narrow.
Yeah. It's that is quite a bust on you.
I remember at Boxing Gas, Andy jumped in it and then
couldn't get out.
And then I think couldn't get out. It was quite funny. Is that where you got a little cramp? Or was that in the Cayman?
No, that was in your Cayman.
Cayman, yeah.
I know you love a bucket seat.
Do you know the thing that really impressed me actually was just like how well put together that car is, but actually how everything was straight. And I know that sounds silly, but obviously a lot of Magnus's cars, they carry a lot of like patina, and he's quite kind of free spirited. So you almost expect things to not be absolutely bang on, just in terms of.
I thought it was amazingly well finished. Just like panel gaps and fit and finish. Yeah. It was almost like a bit anti-Magnus in a way, you know. So I think that was impressive.
I had a good look through the build pictures. If you go onto Magnus's blog spot, and there must be.
Do you mean you read it in Total 911 issue 100?
Oh yeah,
of course.
There must have been I think there's 500 odd pictures on there, and they're all high definition pictures.
Okay.
And the quality of the build was pretty epic. I think.
Yeah. I thought it was going to feel more home DIY garage built.
Yeah.
And it really doesn't at all, does it?
No, that's there are companies out there that build worse cars than that, which is saying so. The sound of it as well. I mean, it sounds like you'd like it, Andy. It sounds like an RSR on the overrun. It's just got that kind of that snare, Really, really cool. So
really short box, isn't it?
Yes, yeah, really short actually.
Is it? Oh,
yeah,
lovely.
Yeah, which is great. And again, on UK roads, I mean, on the way back from Simply Porsche, obviously traffic and whatnot, so you're kind of just bumbling through the New Forest, but you can have fun in that car even at low speeds. You don't have to be kind
stirring the gears.
Yeah. I did get about halfway home, bearing in mind there was loads of cameras out as we were leaving Bewley because Paul was in front in a Carrera GT, which I think helped,
upstaging you.
Yeah. But I got about halfway home and realised that the driver's door on the STR was still half open. So it was like, what's that jangling sound? Oh dear, yeah. So but really, really, really cool car, and thanks to Paul again from Series 1, we've got him on here. So thank you for chucking us the keys, mate. Appreciate it.
We should probably get Paul on for an update at some point, because I'd imagine his collection's expanded slightly since we last spoke.
Slightly bulging at the seams, I would say.
Yeah.
So very good. No, it was good. This might, because we haven't spoken about this, Joe, before we came on, it might throw you under the bus a bit. I hope not. But can we talk about you having a look at a new car, or would you just rather not?
Literally throw me on the bus.
Yeah.
Not much to tell, really.
Very good. Okay.
I've looked at everything
Still
and back
looking.
again. I've gone round and round in circles, and I'm just completely lost. So
What to go for?
Yeah, exactly that, really.
So are you still on the Targa thing, or are you?
Well, GTS Targa was the car. There's not many of those around at all, and then trying to find one you actually want and the spec you want, blah 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 blah. Anyway, they're short, few and far between. So they're commanding a premium. So just all that sort of stuff going on. Started looking at other stuff. There was a little 997 GT2 that came up, which looked interesting. Lee sort of raised an eyebrow and went, no. So that was just, that's kind of what you said, isn't it?
So it is vetoed, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's out the window. But I can't work out what to do, or just to do nothing and wait. That said, I was literally this afternoon getting the old finance guy to get something sort of pushed through to see what it looks like. So there might be something up and coming.
It's his thing, Joe. He doesn't like to talk about it. He just likes to do it. So we'll rock up next week and he would have bought the car, and then he'll kind of talk, So,
but I had a really bad experience actually. So I found a car. I won't give too much away. But I found a car that's like, I thought actually, it literally ticks all the boxes. It's the right color, right spec, right options. Literally the one. It's a sizable amount of money. Rang up for a chat, and the guy he was almost insulting, to be honest. To the point where I said, well, you can take your car and stick it, because it was he was very, very rude, which I thought was really disappointing.
Really? Yeah.
What sort of way?
It's a 5-hour round trip for me to go and have a look at this car. So I said, look, it's a couple of years old, it's not got loads of miles on it. I said, look, can you just tell me a bit about it in terms of condition? I said, is there any marks on it? Is it stone chippy on the front? Does it need any prep? All that sort of normal sort of stuff, which I thought was quite a fair question. And he was just really sort of flippant of like, well, if it's good enough to go in our showroom, then that's all you need to know, isn't it? And I was a bit like, well,
OPC or specialist?
It was actually, it's a specialist. I don't know if I really want to name and shame. I mean, it's not a Porsche specialist. They do mixed sports cars, but within their extended group, there's lots of OPCs.
Yeah.
So clearly they've not passed on the sales training. But it was really disappointing I thought, my initial contact was just somebody being an absolute arse. And
I wonder if that's the sort of the way the market is at the moment, that there's not enough cars out there.
Maybe.
Right now. I mean, they're just a bit blasé.
Should it? It's that's not right.
Yeah, so I think
absolutely.
I'm going to go and do my homework, and if I get the numbers a bit straight, I might go back and just speak to his boss and cut him out. And
the thing is, nobody needs a Porsche, do they? That is the thing. So buying one, you only do it because you want one. It's meant to be a special thing, and if you're selling them, I think you have to be kind of at least a little bit intuitive to that fact. And
true.
That might not be the right car for Joe. Who knows? But he might be back another time. And and whether your experience is good or bad, as the old saying goes, 10 people tell 10 people tell 10 people.
Yeah.
It's not good for business, is it?
I won't name and shame, but it was certainly not a very good experience. And so that it's a weird, it puts you off, because it kind of, you want that, as sad as it sounds, you kind of want it to be a nice experience from the start, don't you?
Yeah.
You want the romance, don't you?
Well, something.
You should have dangled the old Rotor Redline keyring and said, come on, mate, top 25 of podcasts globally here, top 25%. So what are you saying? Are we having a deal or? Maybe that's why he told you to piss off.
Your delusion, mate.
Yeah, that could be where it's gone wrong, actually. Yeah. So anyway, that's kind of out there. I tell you what I've been thinking of, and I'm sure Lee's going to raise an eyebrow and roll his eyes at me, but the old Boxster Spider.
Oh, yeah.
To be fair, cool. There was a couple of them at Simply Porsche at the weekend.
There's quite a few Simply Porsche, I was surprised. And obviously they're quite under the radar. Obviously it's the sort of, loosely GT4 without a roof. They made less of them, so they're a bit rarer.
Yeah.
And actually I think, quite under the, people don't really, not many people kind of, seem to go for them.
Yeah. I saw a chalk one yesterday, I think. Chalk, that looked nice.
Yeah.
My wife really likes chalk. I'm a bit like, is it fashion?
Yeah,
the fashion colour of the time at the moment.
It's the new Miami blue, isn't it? I think, as we've said before, there's a lot of chalk around. Just looks like primer to me. Is it going to,
rude?
It's subjective, isn't it? It's what we were saying with Carl on the last episode. Colour is so subjective, isn't it, on cars?
I quite like. I like. Is it crayon? Is the other one, isn't it?
It's the same. Crayon colour is chalk.
Oh, is it? Is that the same?
It's just. Is it Americanism?
Americanism, yeah.
What, Americans chalk and we're crayon?
Yeah. Something like that, one way or the other. Grey primer.
Grey primer, exactly.
Yeah, I quite like it.
Okay.
I'm well up for that.
I like a bit of primer.
Do you reckon that could go out of vogue quite quickly then?
I think it could. Yeah, I think it's a bit like white has been it for a little while, isn't it?
It's weird on a Spider. I think with something like that, a small car, isn't it, compared to the rest of the stuff the company makes, sporting intentions, of course, let's have a bit of flair in there or something, I just think, chalks, I don't know. Like not
I think chalk on a Spider is a bit of an unusual
You've got, get a colour on there that's got a little bit of flair to it.
A bit more leery, I think.
But the Spider...
I thought Spider could be great fun because obviously, manual, you got, no roof. Yeah. And I reckon it'd be seriously good fun.
Yeah. Good looking little car.
Yeah. So that's another option that's kind of crossed my path.
Where's young Charlie going to sit then?
Well, this is the thing. This is the problem.
In the frunk.
Yeah, literally. That's the trouble. Is it? Two-seater does limit what you can do with it.
Yeah.
And annoyingly, those considerations do come in. So and then there's three on the list. So GTS Targa, Spider, Carrera T.
Carrera T. I thought that might be there.
Yeah. What do you reckon, Andy? Out of those three,
I'd go Carrera T.
Would you?
Yeah.
If you go Carrera T, I'd want folding buckets and put back seats in it. And I think then you've got best of everything.
Yeah. Not a bad shout. What would you? Well, it's a high days and holidays car. It's not a daily, is it?
Oh, no, daily. I think if you're going to spend that sort of money on a car, you've got to use it.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
For sure. In which case, a Spider might be a bit. I don't know how daily they are because they're
Sunday car.
They do leak, don't they?
Well, look, next episode then. Let us know what colour your new Carrera T is. We'll slag it off. It's going to turn up with a bloody primer, isn't it?
I'm not buying a primer one now.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's that boring bit over with.
No, it's good. It's good to hear.
What about the 912? Is that fixed yet?
The 912. So, Christ.
How many weeks is that?
Yeah, too many. Very long story short, the part that we couldn't get, we've now got. It's being sent over from America. Should be landing any day now, and then it'll be back together.
Who'd have thought a 912 was so difficult to get parts for?
Yeah. There's apparently there's a bit of a world shortage of these specific
widgets.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the short version. Anyway, it's almost back, and that coincided with my friend Chuck, who I share the old track Cayman with. He took it off to Brands while I was sunning myself in Spain. Toasted the back brakes.
Oh, no.
He's now got no back brakes.
Can I just say, I think, because he went with his son, Luke. Shout out to Luke.
He does have a heavy foot.
It must have been Luke that did the brakes. Chuck doesn't go fast enough to even need to use the brakes.
Stinger.
We need to get him on to defend himself now, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
So it came back with no back brakes and some sort of return spring thing on the clutch. He's sort of, squashed that.
It.
So anyway, they got it home. It'll be fixed because we've got some track days coming up. So I've had no Porsches to drive, which has been a pain.
Luke did say on the subject of that track day that they realised that the brakes were going early doors, and he said it got to lunchtime and they were both thinking they were going to be going home on a low loader.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they was like, I had to just kind of peg it back a little bit.
That's reassuring. It's always good to know.
What circuit was it?
Brands. But it was the GP, not Indy, which is rare. Usually track days you're just kind of limited to the Indy circuit, which is okay. It's a little bit monotonous, isn't it? It's not particularly big. So opening up to GP is it's good fun.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very good.
Before we came on air, I was mentioning just car updates, and I'd had that classic PCM put in my car. And I mean, the look of disdain I got from you, Andy.
No, not disdain. It's just my personal preference. Right. I'm not gonna say it's not the right thing for you.
Yeah.
Have you got a radio in your car?
No,
not at all.
No. So that's my thing now. I haven't done it yet on my car, but it's just to have a Bluetooth receiver and use your phone for everything.
That's what I got in the 912. Yeah. So I just bought a little, like exactly that little receiver, and I stashed a little amp under one of the seats, and off it goes.
I just don't. My personal preference is whatever stereo you've got in your car. Whatever car I've had, it's always out of date within like 6 months of the car being built.
Yeah,
and so I'm just like, just have a phone and a Bluetooth.
Well, you might circumvent that because yours is Apple CarPlay job, isn't it?
Yeah.
So I suppose at least that it will move with the times of your phone.
Well, the classic PCM, there's a 2-DIN unit now for the 996, but there is also a 1-DIN unit for air-cooled cars, has been for a couple of years. But that just, so neither of you would be interested in that whatsoever. Don't see the merit of it.
No, because the screen's tiny.
It is on the 1-DIN, it's 3.5 inches.
The single
bloody thing's down by the gear stick, so you have to take your eye off the road.
Yeah.
If you've got your phone, you can get to everything. The screen's good quality. It's big. It's in the right place to look at it.
Yeah.
As long as it's on a mount, obviously, that's hanging off the dash.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's my view on it.
Yeah. I wonder how well they've done with the air-cooled stuff for sales of that.
Well, the only reason I went down that route with the 912 rather than looking at there wasn't really anywhere. There isn't anywhere. Yeah, it's got the old, whatever it is, sort of 8-track styley radio, which is all bolted into the dash. So there's not really a slot for it. But the single DIN Porsche PCM Classic is it 1,500 quid?
Yeah.
And the double DIN's even more. And I just thought it was like 1,500 quid just for the head unit.
Yeah.
Which is I thought a ridiculous amount of money when it is pretty much just a radio.
It is, as I kind of covered in the video, there are aftermarket options that are cheaper.
Yeah. I mean, you get what you pay for. I get that.
Yeah, I don't like the fit and the finish of the aftermarket stuff. I just think it looks wrong. Usually there's no buttons whatsoever. It's just a screen. And then a 996, that looks quite dated. Yeah. You then start thinking, well, who's put it in there? Is it a bodge? So it's, I think it's a little bit different as well because my car's a daily. Obviously with your two air-cooled cars, it's not. So like the need for kind of connectivity and modern day level of infotainment it's superfluous when you go out in a drive in your air-cooled 911 or 912. Yeah. You just want to hear the engine and that's it, don't you? So it's slightly different. It does make me wonder how successful the 1-DIN unit has been.
I think they've sold lots. I think lots of people do like it. Okay, it's just my personal preference is I use my phone for
I think
everything.
it's the best. I think if it's not budget driven, I think they look great and I think they obviously work well and it's that OEM type fit, isn't it? So great bit of kit. I think it's just budget allowing, I think.
Yeah. Okay.
Are you pleased with yours then?
Love it. Yeah, absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Just like I say, it's bizarre having a 22-year-old 911, but having this like modern whizzy, media unit in the middle.
I guess it's where I'm just older. It's like I've always looked at stuff in the dash, and it's just like.
Yeah, no, I get it. But like, it looks like it's meant to be there as well. I said in the video that just with like the buttons that they've got and like the rotary knobs, they are from the 996 like Gen 2 unit, the PCM2. So they've thought about it. It looks like it should be there, and yet you've got modern connectivity for a daily driven car. I think that's great, and I actually think it helps the value of it a little bit in terms of if you see that versus a car with an aftermarket.
Is it 996 only, or does it fit in 997 too?
It's 996 only for now.
Okay.
The only reason is Porsche Classic considers the car. It has to fall under that classic scheme, and at the moment the 997 isn't in that.
They're both double DIN units, aren't they?
Yeah, they are.
It should just slot in.
It's, I think, an inevitability that the 997 will get that because again, there's lots of comments on the video about people 997 owners saying, "Oh, I cannot wait for this to come out on my car," because the 997, like the 996, is.
We keep it for something.
We've got a Road to Redline audio going in the background. I love it. But yeah, the 997 is like the 996, the Gen 1s anyway. They tend to be daily driven cars, so there's a genuine purpose to be fulfilled there.
Yeah.
So interesting stuff. Yeah, interesting stuff.
But you rate it? Give it a big thumbs up?
Definitely. Yeah, I really do. Really do. I would be gutted if that was kind of taken away now and you put the PCM1 back in, which was a dinosaur by comparison, you know.
Didn't do anything, did it?
No. I just have to turn the music up constantly to get rid of that bloody rattle.
Did the old PCM rattle? It probably had its own rattle, I'd imagine.
Probably, yeah. It's a weighty old thing as well. There's definitely a weight saving in there, a couple of kilos. Yeah, that is mighty weight to it.
You got something to counteract at the moment, haven't you?
What's that? What, my
on
belly?
The weight?
Yeah, just a constant beer jacket. That's got to go. That's got to go. Cheers to that. That's because I threw you under the bus earlier, didn't it?
Touche.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So we better explain to you at home, dear listener, that we just had a very quick pause to scoff a tie, and
it was good.
Midway Thai food. Yes, yeah. Well played. Yeah, very good point. Good point. Well made. And as you can probably hear, although he's about 10 foot away from the mic,
he's not going to hear him at all.
A bottle of Soul in hand is Mr. Phil Farrell, who was on a couple of.
We've had an unexpected drop in, haven't we?
Yeah, I think he smelled the food.
Yeah, you're gonna have to get this close, Phil.
Close.
Sorry.
Then get it in your face.
Get it in your gums, mate. So it's a timely introduction, Mr. Farrell, because we want to talk about the 992 Carrera, which, well, you were out in with us the other day, weren't you?
Yeah.
And you told me just now that you've been thinking about that car quite a lot since. It was a base entry level Carrera with sod all options.
Yeah, to me, I think firstly, I'd only really heard of people buying them and selling them again quite shortly afterwards, based on too big. I've got something around my mouth.
No, get your face in that microphone.
People are taken. Obviously, this isn't the base one, but they've taken delivery of them. They seem to shift them on quite quickly, either because they're too big or they don't make the right noise. And that seems to be the recurring story. So when you turned up and sort of said, that is the only Carrera you really need.
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, right, but we only had to go around that roundabout, and the way that front end, with safe legal speeds, obviously, but it just chewed into that road, didn't it? And then put your foot down, get it over 6,000 RPM, and it sounded the nuts.
It did sound okay, didn't it? But it didn't have sports exhaust, so it had literally 1,500 quid's worth of options.
Which were what?
Mats.
Yeah,
Matt's painting wheels.
911 badge on the back, painted black.
How much was that? That was 15.
I can't remember. I could dig it up, but yeah, the GT Sports steering wheel was like a good addition. But that was it. Nothing. It was even just a flat white colour as well. It was as kind of as bogo as you can get. So as a 911 out of the box.
I think it looked the part in the white.
Phenomenal.
Yeah,
it looked great. It looked great, and I think you don't need sport exhaust. Is basically that car sounded good, didn't it? When you put your foot down without PSC.
Yeah.
I think cars with PSC are quite disappointing. I think if you want more noise from a 992, you're best going to an aftermarket company. But that car sounded great, and it's just as a 911 out the box, unbeatable. And to me, as I said to Phil and Joe on the day, that is my pick of the 992 range, without a shadow of a doubt.
It's always the best.
Object so far of the cars available, I would get a 992 Carrera.
Because the more spec'd up ones, so the S, the 4S, I think are, compared to what you can buy slightly used for the same money, I think they're expensive now.
Yeah.
Whereas I think, what's the list on that? Like
82.
Yeah, so 82, 85 with, by the time, say you've put bows on it, because I don't think that one had.
Didn't have bows, no, which it needs. It was a bit tinny, wasn't it?
Yeah, and maybe one
sound like a bass IB.
But I think that really, really works, and I've wrote about it in the magazine when I've been talking about the GTS, that you can potter around in it. Anything up to like 4,000 RPM, it's pretty normal. You can just sort of pootle around, and then they wake up, and it's like having a car with two personalities.
Yeah.
And I thought that was
pretty similar too.
The 996 that I had was the same. Even the GT3 is quite tame when you're not driving it hard. But the minute you want to wake it up, it'll do the same. So to me, it ticks all those boxes that I've always found the 911s good for. It's like when you picked me up, we drove from your house to the petrol station where we were meeting Paul and Joe, and like you could have been in a 5 Series.
Yeah,
but they're super comfy, aren't they?
Yeah.
You had a bit of seat time, Joe. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I'd tell you what, I was a big convert. I think I was a little bit anti 992. Just kind of I'd sort of ruled it out as being a bit fat ass and all that shit. Yeah, just being big and I don't know, it reminded me of like a mini Panamera, and I got that really fixated in my head. And actually jumping in that one the other morning on that run back, which is I don't know, whatever, it was an hour and a bit, you suddenly actually got quite comfortable with it, and like you said, it was everything you needed, and actually felt a lot better than it did the first time around. I think the same with everything. That new car comes out, everyone's a bit, don't fancy it, and then it grows on you.
Yeah.
And it's definitely done that.
Yeah, particularly with 911s, that's the case. I think as well, because it's 385 horsepower, the S is 450. It's quite a jump.
That is a jump, isn't it?
450 Newton meters torque versus the S is 530.
Can you remember what's the base model list on an S?
It's eight or 10 grand on.
8 or 10 grand, yeah. So I suppose for the power upgrade...
It's 10 grand, actually, thinking about it, it is, yeah.
So for 10 grand, it's quite a cheap power upgrade if you think you're ever going to use it, but you're not, are
and
you?
You get like the bigger brakes and all that sort of stuff. I mean, I'm adamant, I've said this many a time, I'm adamant that the reason Porsche doesn't have the stick shift available in the Bogo Carrera is because they would sell them by the bucket load. Yeah, it's such a usable car. It's a good daily, as kind of Phil illustrated, nice and comfortable. You can turn it up, you can have fun in the car, and you're not getting into kind of too much trouble. It's at that kind of, it's not a sweet spot. I'd like a bit less weight, well, a lot less weight actually. I think it's 1,500 kilos. But it's usual, the S with that extra kick on is bloody fast, isn't it? Too fast for the road, and obviously the Turbo S is just ridiculous.
But that's it, and it goes back to what's a usable car in the UK, and base model Carrera 992 is the one, isn't it? Absolutely. You can't tell me anybody's actually gone for a Carrera S and they've actually needed or actually used all that extra power in a purposeful way. They couldn't have driven the same thing with the base model.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't believe so. Not on a UK road anyway.
No,
off the track. Yeah,
and
it's not a track car, so what else are you going to use it for?
I think that's what really. I mean, I've done it a couple of times now, where these new turbocharged models of older cars are too fast. And you go out for a drive on a Sunday morning and you're just slingshotting yourself between corners. Unless you really know what you're doing with them, those corners aren't particularly pleasant. And to have something with a little bit less power, I think it's an absolute gem.
Yeah, agreed.
I'd tell you what, if somebody wanted the bragging rights on the power, what's they called? Is it Litchfield?
Yeah.
I mean, isn't it like 600 or 800 quid for their base model tune on the 992 engine, and it winds them up to nearly, is it 480 or something, 460?
It is, yeah.
Which is, I mean, that's mega power for no money if you really want to have a few more horses.
That's what I mean.
Probably spoil it though.
I think you're right. I think you would.
Yeah. A daily car with 500, knocking on for 500 horsepower. I mean, that is just, it's insane.
Yeah.
It's insane.
I'd be interested to see what history does to the 992, because I think it started off and everyone was a bit uncertain, and I think lots of people are coming around to the idea, aren't they?
Yeah, and the looks of it as well.
Yeah.
What wheels did it have on it?
So it had the Bogo entry level in terms of like tyre sizes, because that's the thing. On the Carrera, you can spec the S wheels, which is the same as 8.5 at the front and 11 or 11.5 at the back, inch wide. But the tyres are different. It's 245 and 305 rather than 235 and 295.
Yeah.
Section on the Carreras. You can upgrade to the S, but that's missing the point. If you've got less power, you want less grip as well. It's what makes the car fun. And that's what that had. It was, staggered wheels again, all the 992s are, but rather than going 20 and 21, it was 19 and 20.
Right.
Lovely. And honestly, it was genuinely, I think the 991 Gen 2 Carrera was a fantastic 911 out of the box. And it was the first time really I felt that the entry level 911 is all the 911 you need. Whereas the 992, it's without a doubt, for me, the pick of the range.
Yeah,
without doubt.
It's no slouch either, is it?
No.
I mean, Christ, that's, we give it a bit of a squirt as we went along, and it was, it picks up and it goes, doesn't it?
Yeah. It is portly in terms of like weight still. And just a side thought, where it's talking about the manual and how it's not available in the Carrera. maybe they're saving that for the T.
Yeah.
You know, just to kind of make that a little bit more special. I don't know.
Do you think the T will be a repeatable model now? Do you think that'll be an ongoing thing?
I think so. I think
it's going to be one of those late models.
I just think they turned like the GTS. The 997 GTS came along as a run-out model, and then for the 991 and Boxster, Cayman, Macan, Cayenne, it's become a sub-brand, hasn't it, within Porsche? And it, as you know, as Phil will testify, Joe, you as well, former owner, that's a fantastic package out of the box. Be interesting to see what the 992 GTS looks like, because history tells us there'll be a step on in power again, which I don't think the car needs.
That's true.
I just think with where these modern cars are going, power's irrelevant. I think weight is the crucial thing, and it'd be nice in the T to really kind of strip some weight out of that.
Yeah, if they went to town on it, they could make quite a cool thing, couldn't they?
I think it'd be great. Yeah, I think, you know, they should have like a modern day club sport. I just think that would be phenomenal. Take a load of weight out, give it a manual box. You don't need anything else. What a phenomenal sports car that would be.
Well, it'd be taking it back to being a sports car, wouldn't it? Rather than I don't know, what would you call it? A GT Tourer is kind of
it's like a daily GT, isn't it? And I think that's really what's sort of whetted my appetite for it, is that I run a few cars and I'm constantly trying to just like get down to one car that will do. I'm fed up at the earache at home.
You do realise that is a complete lie. You're never going to have one car.
Lindsay won't listen to this.
I've got every good intention. And I looked at that car, and actually the size of it to me is a positive thing if you're going to go down that route and have the one car that you could sit in and do. I mean, you can do this in a 991 as well, but it's big enough now that the back seats are bigger because the car's bigger. The whole car's bigger. It's very, very comfortable. And I could see definitely rolling 3 of my cars into one car.
Really? Interesting.
With that. And of course, the other thing is that the way, I mean, most people buy new cars on tick these days. And the way the Porsche finance model works is that if you can keep your car as close to base spec as possible, they're actually quite good value, because the what's it called, the balloon on the finance agreement basically stays static, so that as you spec the car up, you're just paying for all your options.
They don't really weigh anything to those extras, do they?
No, which is great when you come to chop it in, because you've got a car that's got a higher value, but when you come to buy it, your monthly just jumps
right up.
Okay.
Well, how about that for a Road to Redline, like special top tip, basically, from Phil, who is like Mr. Finance Man, knows his maths very well.
Unless we're talking to builders. So I just looked at it. If you go on the Porsche website and just look at the base Carrera finance example, it's all relative, obviously, because they're expensive cars. But, they're quite good value. You can put 10, 15 in, I think it was. I think it was coming out at $699 a month. Which
it's amazing.
It's still mega money, isn't it? But
especially because those deals are set up, aren't they, in a way that at the end of your term you can essentially give the car back.
Yeah.
You're not gambling on future values because they fix aren't you?
So, I think the 3-year balloon on.
That's right, it's the cookie.
It's the Redline cookie.
It's the man maths thing saying tick. I think the balloon's something like 38 grand. So there's no way you're not going to end up with a bucket load of equity in that as well, which of course is the business model to get you
into the next one.
You've probably had.
Talking of financing costs, has anybody heard about the thing they're doing out in the US? The subscription model.
Have they actually kicked it off? Is it actually out and working?
Yeah.
There's been talk about it for quite a few years.
I thought Volvo had started it here now.
They have, yeah. But they're doing it in the US, and you basically, it's like hiring a car, and you can change out your car whenever you want to. You just ring them up and say, I'm in this restaurant. I've had enough of this Panamera now. Bring across the 911, and I want a white one.
They just come and swap it out.
Yeah, and apparently it's quite favourable there.
Well, that is the way the world's going, and I think for modern stuff, I've said for a long time that I think that's what they should do with GT cars. I think if GT cars were essentially leased to you instead of so you don't actually own them at all. You just you pay
experience.
you pay a monthly
flipper market instead.
Yeah, kills the flipper market, kills all the bullshit, I'm going to say it, that dealers put up with, and all the brand envelopes and all the other corruption surrounded with GT cars, of which there's plenty. Yeah, I know it's a subject for another day, but it doesn't. It does away with all that, and actually people that really want to drive them would actually subscribe, lease. Actually use them, but do it to use them. They're not. They're not in it just for the. Just to try and flip
Put
it on
in the garage and make some cash.
And I think if they did that with GT cars, it would easily follow on with other cars as well. But it would definitely, I think it would get more of the cars on the road.
Yeah, which is what people want to see, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's a rolling advert, isn't it? I mean, if you see a great big Larry RS go past, most people in the street sort of have a good look, don't they?
Yeah.
I mean, what better advert for Porsche?
And I think that is the bonkers things with GT cars is that you can see them 3 years old and they've got 2,500 miles on them.
Yeah.
And like it's meant to be this car that you aspire to drive. How do people get a GT car and then stay out of it?
I think people
to the point that they're only pointing
aspire to polish. That's all they do.
Most of them are covered in swirls, though, aren't they?
Well,
Well, they say, don't they, that the fastest car is always a hire car. So a hired Porsche, I mean, there's going to be tickets flying all over the place. Danger. I personally, I prefer to own something.
I know. I totally.
personal
Yeah,
connection,
I get that.
Yeah.
I think there is an ownership thing, and I think that I think they're definitely part of that model. At a certain point, cars could then be available for ownership. As they get older.
Yeah.
But certainly, I think if to get rid of the build up at the front end of the GT problem, so to speak.
Yeah. I think that is part of the deal that you can, if there's one particular car that you like,
you can buy it.
You can buy it. Yeah.
I mean, in that case, it's like an extended test drive, then, isn't it? I mean,
you have like stamps or like points that you collect. So, and then when you're a serial hirer of the car, i.e., you really love that car, you then go on the list to be able to just go and buy one outright. And then you can go PTS, then you can do this, that, and the other.
Yeah, that's a good shout.
And get that car that you just want to keep. And
so you've actually got to go and really drive around in a GT car before you're allowed to actually buy one. I just think that there must be a better way than the way that is being done at the moment.
Yeah.
Because it's whoever's in flavour of the month at the dealership on the right day of the month and blah, 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 blah.
Another libel case incoming.
Well, I mean, we all presume that, don't we? Because, that's how it looks like it works. Like,
presume?
Well, this is it. I don't.
You must have come across somebody that's had an interesting connection on buying GT cars.
I don't think I've ever heard somebody that's bought one new. Maybe they just wouldn't. I mean,
you must know somebody that's bought cars they didn't particularly want to buy to then be on the list for the GT car.
Maybe my Porsche circle's too narrow, but I don't think I've ever actually. No, don't get me wrong. I'm sure it goes on. It's just nobody's ever shown me any physical evidence of that. I'd love to see it because then it would put my mind at rest that I'm never going to play those games, so I can just check out of that.
But would that interest you? That model, Phil, like the finance
what brown
thing?
envelopes to go to? Yes, yes.
Very, very welcome. But no, as in, the finance model, or so not the finance, the hire model. So, like, obviously we know you're a huge advocate for the Gen 2 901 GT3.
Yeah.
And that might be able to get you some seat time that kind of might, keep you salivated for a little while without actually having to own it and go through that kind of that rigmarole.
Yeah, I think if that was the only way I could get into one, then I would. I think I would definitely want to know that there was the option of, speccing one myself, because I think I'm in your camp. I want the spec that I want.
Yeah.
Because they are nice things to look at as well. So they're fantastic to drive, but then
I totally get the ownership piece. I do. I think if you like the variety and the chopping and changing, which a lot of people are into those sorts of cars do. I mean, Christ, you've had 3 Porsches in the space of 6 or 8 months?
Yeah.
Yeah. So by definition, you like a bit of variety.
Yeah.
So so I think that and if you look at modern day finance,
the ear rake that would help.
Yeah. I mean,
it'd be gone.
But I think the other thing, the reason I go through cars at the rate I go through is because I get excited by them. Yeah. So I make not poor decisions, because I don't think you can't buy a bad car in a Porsche dealership. So, you know, I'd go in there, and it's like I ended up with a Cayman GTS at one point, and it was because I drove it 200 meters down the road. It popped and crackled. I was like, I just want this car right now. And I didn't go away and think, right, do I want the GTS interior pack? Do I want this, that, and the other? So the minute I got that car home, it's fantastic to drive, but it didn't really have the right bits on it. So therefore, it lasted 8 months. Whereas if I'd have perhaps been able to, I mean, it's a Cayman, but say with a GT car, chopped and changed and really figured out
what you really wanted. Yeah.
Do I want the half-folding bucket seats? Do I need the Club Sport pack? Do I need the lift system? You know, all these things that are like 1,500 quid, £2,000. Do I need ceramics? Can I get it on a track with steels, with ceramics? These are situations you're never, ever able to put yourself in. I mean, you could go and spend thousands of pounds at the experience centre, but they might not even have the right car there. And I think having the idea of being able to hire one.
I think anybody's been in that world of financing that sort of level of car. Yeah, I think it's not, because technically you're never really owning it, are you?
No.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Oh yeah, yes, it's yours, but ultimately, it's set up on a deal. It's not the same as going and buying a car cash, where it's just yours and it's yours to do what you want with. Yeah, and most of the time those cars aren't being tweaked, played with, modified. They're you buy them out of the box, you use them, you give them back. That's it. So I think that's when it works. I think if you want to have something you can play with, tinker with, make your own, then obviously, you've got to, you need to own it. Yeah, you need to own it. And that's a different sort of person, isn't it? But I think that a large percentage of Porsche ownership, people buy them out of the box, and
that's it. And they can't do any modifications because they're still under warranty.
Yeah, you've got all those things. There's all those reasons why people don't, especially in the UK as well, which is why it would really suit the UK. Like you said, I think Lee said before, in the States, they don't think anything twice about buying a new GT3 and taking it into the nearest tuning shop and doing what they want with it. In the UK, I mean, how many tuned or modified GT3s are they that are less than a year old?
Yeah, people are a lot more fastidious in the hunt for just OEM and will not stray off that.
Most of them have still got the plastic on them, though, haven't they?
The seat wrapper.
Well, people are all worried about the resale or the next owner, and there's that real mentality, isn't there, in the UK, of looking after it for the next person. So that's why I think Christ, I think a higher lease hybrid model would get rid of all of that.
Bring it on, Porsche.
So this episode, then, we've learned that we're in favour of that high scheme. That the 992 Carrera is the only 992 you really need.
Base model, no options.
Yes,
go buy one tomorrow.
Exactly that. And Joe may or may not buy a car sometime soon. Sort of hovering over the button. Maybe might have one for next episode.
I don't know what next episode.
Well, we need content, mate. So
get on and do it.
Yeah. I think before we go as well, we're usually quite ad hoc with our planning or our guests, because we like to shoot from the hip a little bit, don't we? But I think maybe we should share a couple of guests we've got coming up, because there's a great mix of stuff in there, isn't there?
Let's do it. I think you've got them all at your fingertips, haven't you? Do you want to give us the rundown?
Well, we've got a bit of a chat with Ben Dimpson, the designer of the 964, which will be awesome.
Looking forward to that.
Real good snippets coming up in that, so that'll be cool. We've got a Porsche mechanic. So actually, if anyone's got any kind of troubleshooting stuff, maybe we'll kind of fling that to him and see how he gets on. Just a little bit of a 101 or workshop kind of thing.
Yeah, to put you in the picture, I mean, he is a fully fledged, long-serving OEM, OPC tech, isn't he?
Yeah, he's 13 years now and counting. And Scott, we'll name him as Scott Gardner at Porsche Bournemouth. So you've got to come on now.
We've made the commitment.
Yeah. So we've got him, and we've also got a 911 owner, a good friend of all of ours, as he's come to be in the past few weeks and months, who used to be a techie or a mechanic for Formula One in the 80s, 90s, and noughties.
Some good stories.
Some really good stories coming up there. So
can't wait to hear some of the wild stories of the 70s and 80s F1 world.
Yes, partying in Monte Carlo.
Oh, yeah.
Sounds good. So lots coming up for awesome content, isn't it? So
definitely.
Stay tuned on Road to Redline.
I think we should before we sign off, we should probably touch on our Patreon account again, shouldn't we? Yeah. Because we are all set up and working. We've got our first few members through the door.
Yeah.
So that's exciting. We obviously really appreciate the support. And what's the entry level support level?
It's £3 a month.
£3 a month.
So that's a coffee.
Yeah.
Or there's £5, which is a beer, or £10 for a pizza. So this is like giving up your pizza a month.
Yeah.
To help us pay our
help
mortgage.
us pay the bills. Keep us live.
That's
And in Thai food.
So if you want to buy us a coffee a month, then it keeps the wheels rolling, doesn't it?
Yeah. Hit us on either on Buzzsprout website.
Yep.
Or on Instagram. There's links off of there, which
Tell you where to go and sign up.
Tidy.
Actually, one more exciting thing to come, because we should chuck it in there, shouldn't they? We do have one of our first sponsored podcasts coming up, don't we?
Yes, we do.
And I think we should maybe dangle the carrot, because it's going to be an interesting pod, as well as obviously the sponsorship element, which is really, really Porsche focused too, isn't it?
Yes, definitely. It'll be with Nazumi Studios and David Campo. Big Porsche guy based over in Stockholm in Sweden. And when he's not tinkering with Porsches, he's making excellent timepieces.
Are you going to let us know about the up and coming association he's got planned, or are you keeping that under wraps?
I think we should keep it under wraps for now,
because that is a pretty cool collab they got going on.
Really cool. Yeah, we're genuinely excited to share that, and he has promised us the exclusive reveal on that. Which is really, really cool. So I won't steal his thunder just yet. But we'll get David on soon. So
excellent. Look forward to it.
Up,
yeah, plenty planned.
That's got to be a night for Road to Redline then, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. Cheers, guys. See you soon.